So last night I watched NXT, the go-home show before their big show next week, Takeover. I think that's what it's called, is Takeover. And whereas last week's show I didn't think was all that particularly good, and it was just, match, 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 no real storylines or feuds, not a lot of character development. I thought this week's show was actually very good and an entertaining sit-through for my hour. I will definitely say that. You kick off right from the very beginning with a match of significant consequence. Maybe I would have preferred this to be next week on that Takeover show, but hey, Big E versus Bo Dallas. If Bo Dallas loses, you best believe he's no longer welcome on NXT. He's gone from NXT, if you believe that. And you know what? You could actually sit there and say, hey, Bo Dallas actually beat Big E to become the NXT champion, da 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 da. So, like I said, a match of consequence. And they had Bo do everything he could to beat Big E, but ultimately he fell short. And I really love afterwards his reaction. It was so corny. It was so bad that it transcended bad and became freaking cool and awesome, which is what I'm expecting his character to be when he actually debuts on SmackDown. Bo, leave! Bo, leave! That crowd down at Full Sail is pretty cool. So Bo Dallas loses to Big E, and now Bo Dallas can go off and try his hand once again at the Big Show. One thing that I really wonder about, sometimes I just wonder if people involved with wrestling think before they do something, and if they realize sometimes just how ridiculous and nonsensical some of the things they do are. And we could sit there and say it's nitpicking. You could sit there and say it's this or that. But at the end of the day, you're the ones that put it out there. You're the ones that write it into the television. You're the ones that produce it in the television. You're the ones that give the sign off to put it on television. How about having some professional pride in your presentation and in your consistency? So let me get this straight. Paige had to be stripped of the NXT Divas title in part because it wasn't fair to the rest of the locker room and roster that she was off at Raw or SmackDown and wouldn't be back to be able to defend the NXT Divas title. But yet, she's on this show this week wrestling Tamina. Where does this make any fucking sense at all? And, it's really interesting now. It seems like Paige has gotten a little bit of that kind of WWE Divas stank to her. I was not that entertained by this match, and I'm kind of looking at her the whole time, and I'm saying, you know what? They're kind of booking her as like a Super Cena type of babyface. This is getting kind of stupid. I'm starting to not like this character very much. But again, I ask, if she's here wrestling on the show, why can't she still be the NXT Divas title holder? And furthermore, using that logic, why were Alicia Fox and Natalya any part of this NXT Divas championship tournament? And why is Natalya wrestling Sasha Banks for a chance to go to the finals to face Charlotte next week at TakeOver, whatever the hell it's called, to become the new NXT Divas champion? Wouldn't that make absolutely zero sense based off of the logic you just used a couple of weeks ago for stripping Paige of the NXT Divas title? Would that make no sense at all? With Natalya appearing on Raw and or SmackDown every single week? Wouldn't that be the same fucking thing? So why would you strip Paige to even entertain the possibility that Natalya could do the same damn thing all over again? It makes absolutely no sense. And again, Natalya in the finals from a storyline standpoint, why? However, from a wrestling standpoint, Natalya versus Charlotte next week at their special event has some appeal to it. And again, this is somebody from the main roster coming down, working with somebody that's kind of green as goose shit and trying to learn and how to get better and figure out how to become a professional wrestler. I love the concept of that. I just think the creative and storyline aspects of how they got to this were ridiculously stupid and sloppy and typical of the inconsistencies we see in WWE and TNA and professional wrestling as a whole today. Another thing that kind of made me laugh a little bit, I'm watching Adam Rose and Camacho, and again, people, don't be lemons, be rosebuds. Get on board the Exotic Express with the Schleg Daddy. What's wrong with that? Let's have some fun! And Adam Rose's gimmick is fun. And not only that, he gets a lot of other people a chance to appear that they're otherwise not able to do anything whatsoever. That's a good thing. Hell, it's getting Camacho a match here, and hell, it's getting Camacho a match at the special event next week. So that's a good thing for Adam Rose. And actually, instead of this just being a random match, yes, it's still the way they do a lot of their mid-card stuff now. It's matches, matches, matches to build feuds to get to another match. But at least they were have been building and cultivating some type of semblance of a rivalry or a feud or for a reason for these two to have animus and hate towards each other. But besides Camacho being a lemon, I'm going to be a lemon here for just a second and then go back to being a rosebud. Only the WWE, in their infinite wisdom, would take Haku's son, a Tongan, and package him as being fucking Mexican. Only the WWE would do some dumb shit like that. Whatever. But anyways, my highlight of the night, frankly, was not Neville versus freaking Kurt Hawkins, because frankly, I didn't even see why we needed to have that match. In fact, with what happened at the end of the show, I thought it would have ended up being a complete waste of time, and I wish I would have gotten more of what happened at the end. We should have had an entire promo segment of Adrian Neville and Tyson Kidd. Here, you got to this thing where you had the #1 contenders match, Tyson Kidd wins, so you just got the title match. Now you have actually, the WWE has actually given us a reason to be emotionally invested in this match, besides seeing Adrian Neville and Tyson Kidd do a bunch of flips and kicks and we fap off to it. They've actually given reason for the match. They've actually tried to develop a little something here with both of these guys. Give some type of issue between the two. Neville's got the title. He's not giving it up. Tyson Kidd wants the title, and he's not giving up until he gets it. And the exchange between these two, easily the best I've heard Adrian Neville on the mic ever. His line about the only member of your family that's going to have a belt at the end of the show next week is your wife, like always. Ooh, 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 ooh. And Tyson Kidd talking about him using this as a springboard and a launching point. Yeah, this was fucking fire. This was good. This was a great way to end the show and a good way to ramp up my interest, no question, in next week's TakeOver event and interest in particular in this NXT Championship match. So looking ahead to next week, you've got a tag team match for the titles between the Ascension and Chris L and El Local, or whatever the fuck their names are. You've got Adam Rose versus Camacho. You've got a #1 contenders match between Tyler Breeze and Sami Zayn. You've got an NXT Divas title match that they've built to for a few weeks. And now you've got an NXT Championship match that my interest went from about here to way up here, just based off of the back and forth between Neville and Kidd. That was awesome. I'm looking forward to next week's show. Hopefully it delivers. And like I said, even with some of the complaining I did on this show about the stupidity of the inconsistencies in the storytelling here and the writing here, there was still a lot for me to like about this NXT this week. A lot better than last week's show. A good, solid building, go-home show before your special event next week.